Hey, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to meet you again for today. I was opening this day and I am going to close it. And I would like to present you our next speaker, Alexey Didik. You can read all the information on the screen, and I would like to read a couple of interesting facts about Alexey. Probably you don't know them, probably you do, who knows. So Alexey is fond of diving. By the way, Alexey, probably you can tell us in how many countries have you been doing this? Also, Alexey is fond of shooting documentaries, and since we're talking about burnout, it would be logical to ask him how many times did Alexey have a burnout, and the answer is, you can write your own answer in the comments, but the answer is four burnouts, and the last one is in progress right now, so you would be seeing it on your own while we're having this speech. And Alexey, a word to you, and for you guys, feel free to write your comments, feel free to write your questions. I would prefer you write your comments and questions in the chat. Why? Because actually the chat is being saved together with the recording, and people who are not able to join this speech together with you would be able to see it later and to feel it while seeing these comments live. But also don't hesitate to ask your questions in Q&A session. We will try to monitor them and to answer all of them. So Alexey, a word to you. What are we going to talk about today?
All right. First and foremost, welcome everyone to EngX Day. People of all kinds, all colors of skin, all locations you're coming from, all countries, religious, sex, and genders, you're very welcome to come. I'm talking right now not as a speaker, but as a head of Engineering Excellence Program. And here is just like, I'm very glad to have you here listening to those wonderful speeches. Hope you enjoyed. If you don't, let us know why. It's totally fine. So you're very, very welcome. The second one, thank you for introduction, Nikita, Alexey Didik, head of Engineering Excellence Program. And I had been thinking that on this slide specifically, it's written some text, but I don't think it's really about me. I mean, so yeah, it's just like facts of my life or maybe my professional career, but what is the real me is maybe Nikita tried to mention just like and tell that I'm doing scuba diving, and I don't think maybe I was like in the 3 countries or 4 countries in general. It doesn't mean that I'm just jumping back and forth. So it's more like a diving in one specific places and in specific depths, and etc. And in the United States, tons of places to dive. So first, just like, what is this most saddest at the moment, Nikita? Can you guess what is the most saddest?
No, I have no idea. Oh my God.
Some online
really?
conferences are so sad because you cannot see people, and you don't understand. I have no idea how much of you are listening right now, what you're doing, what is your faces, what are you interested, what you're not, and is it just like the right moment to talk at all? So that's just like, I'm at least happy to see your face, Nikita, so I'm just like, be everyone, all right? So just like represent crowd, represent people who are coming to listen about occupational burnout today, because we're going to talk about occupational burnout. And you know that by researchers that 59% who are working in IT, 59% of people who are working in IT have been burning out at least once in their career. And you know what? I think that it's complete bullshit. You know why? Because I feel that everyone in their career already burned out. And like Dr. Percival Cox from my favorite show, Scrubs, told, if you didn't feel burned out yet, you will. So that's my personal opinion. And I had been burnt out maybe even more than 4 times. So we're going to talk about it just in a bit. So this is just like a quick agenda, what you see guys on the screen. I'm going to talk about burnout phases, how you can check and just find and even the burnout and what's important, how you deal with. So we'll try to cover those aspects. Obviously, like this time we have, it's not enough just like to make you a full scale, just like a big guide on how you can manage burnout, but I assume it can at least burn some ideas, some thoughts, some opinions, some first steps you can do in first recognizing that you're in a burnout and later on start dealing with it and care about yourself. So it's again picture of me. It's really nice. It's all good. But what we're going to start talking about is what is a burnout. And here I would like to say that life is obviously full of wonders, but also it's also full of dangers. And every day there are a lot of things happening and they're all coming to you. So you just like have a big amount of different stuff continuously attacking and coming. Some of them bring you joy, and some of them bring you fear, some of them makes you worry about. But in general, your psychic is processing a lot of events, a lot of external inputs which are coming to you. And we can call them stressors. Stressors not in a completely negative way, stressors just because they make your psychic respond, make decisions and act. And those stressors can be small, like stepping in a dog poop at the morning, or maybe they can be big, like war, and all those stressors are coming to you. But our psychic, Nikita, it has like a capacity. It's not like infinitive. Your psychic can process only limited amount of stressors at a time. And when there is one big stressor is coming, you can be already overloaded. But sometimes you just have a small stressors everywhere, every day coming to you, and just like from your family, from your job, from your friends, from your education, from your just like immediate, just like walking around and with your dog, or maybe by yourself, or running in the morning when you can wet your feet, right? And because it was snow and etc. So it's all coming to you, and this jar is not unlimited. That's why it can break at some moment. And when it's breaking up, you are feeling this burning out and you are feel already burnt out completely. So this is first important, just like a quality of you is having this limited capacity to process external stressors, whatever kind of events is it. So your psychic can just like respond. So I have a question for you, Nikita, or maybe even two questions. The first one, did you step in your dog poop this morning?
No, because I wasn't running this morning because it was snowing, as you mentioned. I usually go for a jog, but today I didn't. Today I was lazy. Yeah.
Okay, lucky you. I didn't also, but it's always a high chance at this moment. The second one, how do you feel? What is the capacity of your jar? Because it usually differs between people, and people sometimes more like stress resistant, sometimes less stress resistance. How do you feel about yourself?
Well, basically, it's a very nice question because I have been dealing with a couple of burnouts through my career too, and from my perspective, basically, your jar is your body, like in my opinion, and your body. I mean, if you listen to your body, you can feel on how much your jar is filled with stress, and your body will give you some kind of signs because there is some kind of jars that tell you that it's 100 milliliters, 200, and so on and so forth. So has your body, in my opinion. So that's how I feel it. And when it comes to a certain level of stress in my jar, in my body, it sends me a signal like, hey man, you feel it? You feel it? Listen to me. You are on this level. You have like some capacity upwards, but still, please pay attention that you're here. So I feel it this kind of in this way, that this jar is my body. Probably, I don't know. We can by the way ask people to write us in comments like, how do you associate this jar with you? So what is your meaning?
How you
of
can measure this
HR?
capacity, I assume, right? How you can measure your capacity. So wonderful. When you spoke about this milliliters, taking account that we both love nice cocktails, this milliliter sounds very good. I'm just like thinking about okay, how much milliliters of run you're gonna add here. So yes, so the first is just like how you can even understand this capacity. And for myself, I feel like I always was proud that I was really very stress resistant. My capacity is very big. I can manage tons of incoming stress, but sometimes it's actually fake feeling. So it's not true. It's just like you can overestimate your capacity of managing stress. And that's why you sometimes can behave just like continuously be burned out and do not even feel about it. So just be careful when you're estimating this capacity of stress or stressors you can manage at the same time. But take a look on the second slide, it gives us a bit understanding of the dynamic. So when we are behaving in a kind of a normal mode, what usually happens? We have some stressor incoming and our body reacts biochemically because it produces cortisol and adrenaline, and we feel energized. It's like, oh, something needs my attention. I need to go and start doing something. We act, and then we have some slowdown, and we are coming more to the rest, and just like suddenly, just like end up in being tired and resting. And it's important period of time when you do not act, you do not do something, and you just like use this time to really recharge yourself. So that's a normal kind of a wave, the way how you're gonna go. Sometimes it's just like slowing down and ramping down. It can be shorter for some people, it can be longer for some people, but in general, you need to react, act, and then slowing down and rest. And that's a usual recreational phases. But sometimes it happens that those stressors are coming one after another without being resolved and giving you time to rest. And in this case, you feel like up, I'm just like responding, and then something new is coming, and you like up, I am responding again, and something new is coming, and new is coming, and etc. And that's what's going on. It's interesting that when I read multiple researches about occupational burnout, it's the result was like just dependency between occupational burnout and people's productivity. The result said that people who are working and already being in occupational burnout, they are more productive than people who are not. And obviously, just like because you feel this continuous, just like amount of energy coming from your brain and from the like on the hormone level, and you just feel energized. The question is, yes, you can feel productive and very overproductive at some moment, but later on you kind of gonna break, and that's what the collapse phase. Because at this moment, at some moment, those stars are collecting in this glass jar, they are gonna overflow the jar, and the jar will break. And as a collapse, it happens. What is interesting also on a biochemical level. So it's just like this amount of hormones it's suppressing, just like supporting your psychic at this moment can overflow you, and you can start feeling completely devastated. What we're gonna talk later. So that's why be very careful when you have continuous set of incoming stressors and you feel like you still can manage it, This initial first phase of burnout could be feel very active and energized. You can feel like a hero who can fight all incoming threats, but in reality, you're already on a sleepy slope. So that's what's usually going on. So Nikita, how do you feel just like what was the last time you recreate? Can you imagine what if are you feel that you're in a normal part of the wave, or you are more like already in a like occupational burnout beginning? So which part of the this chart you are?
Well, actually, I'm pretty much energized, and I'm energized because I'm choosing these small recreational activities against having a big piece of rest on some time. And actually, by me being in certain circumstances, you don't have too much ability to actually have a big rest because you are continuously under stress. And I found myself a cure for this, and I started doing sports. I mean, not started, I've been doing it through all my life, but I mean, I started doing it more frequently, and I am collecting those, like on the slide, I'm collecting those dots by doing some sport activities, even twice a day sometimes, and it's totally fine. And I really enjoyed what Zoltan wrote in chat, that rest doesn't mean recharge. And in this case, I would 100% agree, because I personally use different activities for rest and for recharge, because those are not the same. And by doing sports, I can't say that it's rest, but I can say that it's an activity to recharge myself. So I'm pretty charged now, probably a little bit less than 2 days ago, because the last time I did some sports was 2 days ago. But I plan to do it tomorrow, so I would be even more energized tomorrow. What about you?
So looking for it, and you and Zoltan, you will ask about, you and Zoltan are completely right. That's why on the screen you can see it's written recreation. Recreation doesn't mean rest. And I'm on both on your side. I hate laying down on the couch. It doesn't rest me. I do not feel rested at all. It only bothers me more. I feel more anxious when you're laying down. So I'm also in active recreation phase, which is also rest, because it's not dealing with stressors, it's enjoying some activity which helps you to release energy. And that's very good. So what was me? Personally, I feel a lot of joy and recreation when I'm playing with my son. He is almost 6 and he is a very big gamer, video gamer. And he likes like playing PlayStation, and right now we are mostly playing Nintendo Switch. So nothing is better than playing Cuphead. If you know, guys, this crazy game when you're fighting bosses and it's like a platformer and you're just playing, and it's so much joy, so much energy. He's screaming, we are just like dying all the time. It's so difficult, and we are bringing and creating new patterns, and energy is a lot, just like really a lot, and it recreates me much more than even a good sleep or run, etc. So this is my way at this moment. But also, Nikita, how do you feel this beginning of this active phase? Right? Can you just like this, okay, stressor is coming and I feel like energized. Can you just like even define this moment of time for yourself? How do you feel that you are getting this ignited, agitated at this moment?
Well, so personally, I have an indicator, but to read this indicator, you have to be 100% honest with yourself, because if something is going to happen, for example, there's some meeting in the calendar or something that you feel that a stressor is coming, and you feel this way like, oh my God, again, or like, oh my God, what the hell, or something like this, then it would be a stressor. But I would like to actually emphasize the interesting thing that stressors actually as an event or as a thing that you experience, they are relevantly different, because at some point of time or at some point of your life, you think that, as you mentioned, stepping in a dog's poop is a stressor. But in another period of time, it has nothing with stress, and you don't even pay attention to it. And the same with some of your life events that actually, I'm like, we're having war right now, and I am just reminding myself what were my stressors, for example, a year ago, 2 years ago, and now it's funny for me because I don't even consider it as a stressor right now. So it is very relative, and it depends on what period of life you're in right now. And the also important thing that I would like to say is you should ask yourself, is this really a stressor for you? Or this is just some kind of an automatic reaction in your brain that is considered to be stressful. So this is also a philosophic topic that we can
Yeah,
discuss probably forever.
But it's perfectly correct. The first one, the different events of your life, they're obviously neutral, right? So they're just like happening. But stressors, when we just feels, you're just like processing system, right? With this your CPU and this jar full of stars and etc. It's more like if it's being a threat to stability of your identity or stability of yourself. Mostly, we are going to see more different types of stressors, and we can find and differentiate them. But what is also important that sometimes when your jar is getting filled, some events, these external incoming events, they can become stressors. But if your jar was full, empty, there won't be any stressors. I know by myself, like walking on the street when I'm already in a bad mood and the day was awful, and I'm seeing this dog poop laying down. I'm like, oh, this is so awful city. This life is going to hell. It's not gonna work, and I'm just like stressed. But when I'm in a good mood, I'm just recharged. I'm just like had a nice time. I'm coming and seeing this dog poop, and there's dog poop. I'm just like walking through and just like it's all right. So it doesn't bother me much. So that's completely right. So let's take a look, on the burnout phases. So we can understand that it's not, this slope is slippery, and this slope is getting more and more slippery as soon as you move through the burnout itself. But there still can be like the 3 phases you can differentiate. You can differentiate more if necessary for the like diagnostic purposes, but 3 phases is good enough for our exercise. And I call them the 3D phases. The first phase I call defense. When you already feel that you're getting overwhelmed and you try to kind of defend on incoming, you still allow those inputs to come to you, those events to come to you, but you're already trying to defend yourself. So it's like these new tasks, and you're irrationally trying to push them away because you feel that they're going to overload you. You're trying to release some pressure and give some job to someone else. You just like declining the meetings. You're just like getting like some challenges in a relationship, because relationship also requires you to interact and use your energy for this. So you make a more irritated once again because this dog poop. I'm sorry, we are talking about the dog poop all the time now. So just like this irritation from every small, just like things out of the world is coming. So you feel like defensive. You're like, okay, it's all attacking me. It's all attacking me. That's the first phase, and that's very dangerous because sometimes we live continuously in these first phases, and we do not even realize that we're already on a slippery slope. The second phase, how I call it, desolation. It's when you're already trying to avoid all incoming inputs. You're not defending yourself against them, just trying to push them down, but still allow them to come. But you are defending, just like this, just like isolating yourself. So it's a desolation, and you are kind of, all right, I'm trying to avoid any social connections. I don't want to see any people. I just don't want just like to work because this work is already doesn't bring me any interest at all. I'm just like fighting with whoever is around me because I'm just trying to push them away out of my circle, out of myself. And at this moment, rest already doesn't bring any relief. And you can already have some psychosomatic reactions when your body will start getting issues and like headaches, colds, allergies, rashes. It's already coming. But the most dangerous is the third phase, because in the third phase, you're already getting in a complete empathy. And I call this phase the third D, devastation, because you're already devastated. And there is already even changes on a biochemical level in your brain. And unfortunately, in this phase, if you end up here, the only way how you can get out is by getting psychiatric help and sometimes even medical help, because your body is already broken at this moment and you're already losing all interest. Nothing recharge you. Not only like laying down and sleeping, nothing recharge you. You already, everything is meaningless and all illnesses are getting worse. You can have suicidal thoughts. You can have self-harm thoughts because you already not in a very good, just like when you're not already healthy. If here your psychic is still fighting, your psychic is already broken, doesn't work. So this is the first phase. So like your experience, Nikita, did you end up in the third phase? How do you feel?
Well,
Anytime those career you had.
Well, I went through probably all of 3 phases, but in the end of the, let's say, second phase, so I didn't go deep into phase 3, let's say. So this is important.
Lucky guy.
Because I felt that everything gets meaningless. I felt apathy. I felt that my illnesses appear because they don't go worse because I usually don't have them. But when I have this burnout indicators, I feel that I start to feel ill much more. But the most important thing that was hard to do probably for my psychic is to lost interest, and that's the thing that kept me floating and not going underwater. Is that I'm a person that is interested in everything. I mean, like literally everything. So, and this
naturally
is the
curious.
thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, curious, and I feel this interest, and this interest is actually your saver for such kind of situations, because I always ask myself, all right, let's stop, let's forget about everything. What is interesting for you right now? What would you like to do? And in this case, I generate a lot of different things, and I just pick something from there and say, okay, all right, I like it, let's try it. And when you try something new, in my case, when I try something new, I experience a lot of joy, and I really like it. And experiencing this joy energizes you. And as we talked about before, it's not rest, but for me, it's doing something interesting, something new, to adopt some new activity and receive new experience. For example, I go traveling somewhere new. I go for, I don't know, for a bike ride. I do something new, some new activity. So this is the thing that keeps me safe in such kind of a situation. But now I'm already experienced, and I usually don't go further than phase 1, because I taught myself to parse those indicators. And I've mentioned to you in the very beginning that the jar has this indicators of some milliliters, and I listen to them really attentively, and I listen to my body, and that's why I don't go even to phase 2 right now.
Yeah, perfect. It's very great. That's exactly what I assume the next steps. I mean, the overall, the recipe could be here, but I wouldn't say that you end up in a phase 3. I'm not just like, I know it's you feel is better, but in a phase 3, usually there is no joy. I mean, so all interest, even your natural curiosity, it definitely drives the world. You already don't have it. So I also felt that I'm like coming. So in my this year, I had 2 burnouts, and right now I'm in phase 1. Now, right now I'm in phase 1, and the phase 2 I had this summer. And when you're just like feeling the whole day, you don't care about anything, you don't want anything, you just want to lay down on the couch. There is no interest, the whole world is rushing, but it's still not like a phase 3 when you're completely apathic and you don't just like care about completely anything. There is still some joy you can get out of the world, but this laying down flat in phase 2, it was just like this year. And previously in the past, it was before. So I experienced it both first and second phase. Luckily, I didn't end up in some like phase I need like medical help and some antidepressants, but it also can happen. And I thought actually about antidepressants this year and the second phase when I was this summer in this second phase at the moment.
We have a question.
So, but let's
see. Just a second.
Wow,
I have to interrupt you. We have a question. Liana is asking me, Nikita, is your interest a recreation? So I don't know if it's in a recreation, but this is the small spark in me This is the interest. And when you go through the phases of burnout, when you end up totally without strength, without energy, there is this small spark that can blow it up again and energize me again. So if there is nothing that you can if there is nothing that you can start the fire with, right, the fire won't be started, and the spark is the fire starter in this case. All right, Alexis, sorry, we had
perfect. About curiosity, I mean, it definitely drives the world, and there is a wonderful book about how curiosity can bring you to the Nobel Prize and changing in quantum physics. The book is called Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, about Nobel Prize winner Richard Feynman, who was driven by his curiosity all his life long. And it's a wonderful one, but it's another topic, obviously, we can talk about. So let's talk about the quick checks, how to detect burnout. Guys,
we have another question. I will interrupt you again, but I promise you to not to do this 3 times, okay?
Okay.
Another question is, how does environment help to handle the burnout? I will really ask, I will tell one sentence and give it to you, Alexi. So in my opinion, environment can save you from going to phases of your burnout. But your version, how can environment help in handling burnout?
Environment is neutral, and environment sometimes is you. It all depends on what do you mean environment. Environment is like a physical world around you. It's all combination of people and the social connections and activities. We're going to go through those questions a bit later, so I would postpone this just a bit more. But about environment, for me, you know, it could play completely different roles. And there is a very nice joke. I can tell you this joke at the end if we have time, about role of environment in your occupational burnout. But let's postpone it just a bit, okay? If you
sure,
don't mind,
I promise to not ask you
questions.
the third one, so it's fine.
No, okay, don't do it. All right, so the quick check to detect burnout, guys. So there are 3 things. We can introduce more classifications, obviously, but there are 3 things which should be in your life if you are all right. So you need to work productively and passionately. You need to maintain healthy relationship, and in general life, your body, your just like psychic, your feeling, your emotions, and you need to enjoy, explore life. So in general, you feel yourself out of the just being healthy and work. You have some energy to be curious what's going on. The sun is out, and maybe I can go for a walk, run, bike ride. Maybe I can just sit outside and enjoy sun. I can read a book, what's going on, what's new going on in the world, and etc. This is all this enjoying and exploring life. So all those 3 should be together. And those of you who know project management, at least foundation of project management, you know this project management triangle: cheap, fast, and quality, speed, and price. And you can say it's impossible to achieve 3 of them. One of them is always going to be bad, right, Nikita? Would you say that?
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
All right. This is a trap. But I would say, guys, just like, is this project management triangle cheap, quick, or high quality? There is some maximization, right? You need to maximize 2 of them, and in this case, you wouldn't be able. If you want a cheap and high quality, it's not going to be fast. If you're going to be high quality and fast, it's not going to be cheap. But it's all about maximization, one of them. You do not need to maximize them. You need to balance them. And it could be just like not cheap, not expensive. It could be quality, sufficient enough, and it could be speed, which is good enough for you. Because life is not about the milestones and some deadlines that you need to burn yourself by going to. Life is much bigger, and it's a much bigger set of experience, and it has much deeper perspective than just continuously achieving certain milestones in a project. That's why this comparison with project management for me is not completely valid. But that's my personal opinion.
We can discuss it.
Yes, absolutely. And they're going to do it. There are 3 kind of quick alarms, like just like these bells or red flags, you can find yourself and just quickly say, am I at least in phase 1, right? So the first, if you are drinking some emergency resources, quickly helping your body with some carbs, like or just getting some caffeine or just like some sugar, some cookies. So like this is definitely a way. If you like feel yourself like, oh, I need to eat something quickly, while you had like a proper dinner, lunch, and breakfast, supper, just like whatever, if you feel like a need to eat something just to help yourself, it's probably a way that your psychic is already overloaded and you need to stop and rest. So if you have very limited capacity on doing something outside of work, if your day off and you're like, okay, I'm laying down, I don't want to do anything, maybe I can watch TV, but I don't have energy to find the remote control, this is also a second quick sign that you are in phase 1 at least. And if sleep is not recharging, which is a perfect tool to recharge yourself, just like getting rest, because brain is actively working to recharge itself at this moment, you waking up already exhausted, or you're waking up and in the 20 minutes you're already exhausted, this is definitely a sign that you at least in the phase 1 or probably in phase 2. So do you have right now any of these quick alarms, Nikita?
Right now,
Coffee?
No, I don't have,
Coffee?
no, coffee.
No?
I enjoy coffee because of the taste, not because of the effect. And I'm not drinking coffee when I'm exhausted. No, I don't eat sugars and stuff. So I'm doing sports. Come on, I don't do such kind of things like eating sugar cookies and stuff like that. So regarding caffeine, I can agree. But I heard, by the way, a very interesting thing on the internet that caffeine doesn't actually give you energy. He lets your body forget about that it's exhausted. So it's not the actual energy, it's an effect on your body to not feel exhausted for some specific time, amount of time, right? But the very important thing, and my first indicator actually, is the quality of sleep. Quality of sleep is the best one, because I remember those times when I was waking up exhausted, and I wake up, I go, for example, where I go to the toilet, and then I understand, okay, I'm exhausted, I can go to sleep right now. So that's it. And there's the whole day of work ahead, and you're already dead. This is the first indicator for me.
Don't do that. I understand. I have coffee, but I like the taste, and just like in general, this sleep doesn't help. It's definitely what I felt when I was in a phase 2 this summer, and this just like laying down, it's even worse for me because I don't have energy to do anything on a weekend and when I'm in phase 2, but as soon as I'm a guy who always looking for some active stuff, because when I'm laying down, do nothing, I feel guilty because you cannot lay down, do nothing, you need to do something because that's what your parents told you. And you have no energy to do, you're laying down, you punish yourself and feel guilty because you know nothing, and it's all just going to complete hell. So it's definitely devastating effect on your body.
Yeah, and
so what factors...
just a second. If those effects of laying down and doing nothing that brings you anxiety, if it's being spiced with the fear of missing out, it's a very great thing.
Yeah. Good luck in this moment. All right, factors leading to burnout. Hey man, we are talking already 40 minutes and we have 20 minutes left. So let's go. We can just...
We have 15 minutes left. So
15 minutes left. Oh, no, go on. No way we can do it. It's all right. So factors leading to burnout. This is more like occupational burnout probably. So we can take a look, and why they categorize it here in some way, just read them through and take a look if you feel it's good, just like if it can burn out. Maybe you'll find something which you didn't even recognize as something which can stress you. You can see it as a stressors, like, all right, this place is not so good for me to work and it's not organized properly. Or sometimes the working rhyme, sorry, working rhyme. So you can just like find yourself in an environment when everyone is moving so quickly, but it's not your pace. It's also definitely influence you. It's always feeling of urgency. It's amount of information everyone is sharing and it's not structured. It's okay if you feel overwhelmed by information because your psychic, once again, have a limited processing capacity, and it's all right. You do not need to be like just like a computer which is processing 100,000 millions of chess turns at the moment, right? So you have limited capacity. So just like be proud of who you are at this moment, and you can be overwhelmed. It's totally fine. Or you can be not overwhelmed by amount of information, but you can be overwhelmed by amount of routine because your body and your psychic doesn't work this way. It could be factors with more like how you feel yourself and what is your identity and self-esteem. You can find yourself that you are doing like something which doesn't work. My previous work was so heavily related to internet advertising, and I hated it because I hate advertising, and I feel like I do nothing helpful and valuable for the world, useful. I'm just like a parasite who is trying to get a bit more money out of people by advertising them something they don't really need. So that's why I really just like burnt out on this job completely. You can unclear expectations from your role because job is coming and telling, hey, you need to do something, but you don't really understand what you're responsible for, you're not. Or you are asked to do something which you shouldn't do or you don't know how to do, but managers sometimes can come and tell, yes, do this. And they just try to fill the gap they have without understanding, do you fit in this gap or not? You can have lack of control, and feeling control over your life and your future is the most fundamental need of every person and every person. And sometimes it could be not because the work require you to be different. Sometimes it's because the world changes in a way that it requires you to be different. So sometimes changes in the world, like war, which is going on right now, you can find yourself already be different. You cannot live your usual life. You can do whatever you like. You in the constant stress, you already not the same person. So it also can definitely influence who you are. So be very careful on this attack of your self-esteem and understanding who you are at this moment. So it could be some emotional factors coming, just bringing you different emotions through the communication, through the fear that you're unsafe and you have no job security. You do not understand what's going to happen in the future, not only in a year, in 2 years, in 1 month, and maybe in 15 days. Lack of visible result when you are not sure that work you are doing is actually bringing something. And it's actually can be a very big stress, because I know a lot of people and myself like saying, hey, this software engineering work, you produce something you're never gonna see. It's something just like it's digital. I'm gonna be a fireman. You know why? Because I want to be a fireman? Because it's very simple, not it's very difficult, but job when you have an action and you have a very clear result just in front of you and you feel controlling and you feel like you can get this feedback cycle through I have result is sufficient and I'm moving forward. But when you produce code, especially when the project is long and it's waterfallish and you're just making it for over years and there's no releases, it's all overwhelming. That's probably agile is better because it gives you, or like this shorter release cycles is better because it gives you more continuous support and feedback from the production that you're doing a great job. That's why it's better. Relationship in the team, inability to communicate your feelings, personal issues is definitely all just incoming. And one more is external factors when you're just combining too much on yourself, put on your shoulders. The context, just like in general, not very good, and the external events is not allow you to work properly, or you do not have proper reward for your work, or just like the people making decisions and you have no any control about it. It's also feeling lack of control. So just quick question, Nikita. What bothers you out of those factors probably the most? What do you see as a kind of the most stressful stressor for yourself?
The biggest stressor for myself is my internal factors, I can say, because your understanding of the surrounding is actually the worst stressor for myself. Because if I can persuade myself that come on, it's not a stressor, then it would not be a stressor. So in my case,
maybe just hide it under the rug, but later on these stressors will come up later.
Probably, because there are a lot of tools for coping with stress, and this is one of them, just for example. But basically, in my opinion, the emotional factors for me are the most important factors.
Yeah, it makes sense. For me, it's just like, it's important, but because I'm a kind of a control freak, this induced situation when people feel powerless, and obviously it's not like external, it's a work mostly related, lack of visible results, and just like inability to communicate feeling and reactions. So you feel lonely, you feel powerless, you're not able to communicate with management with just like, how do you feel, what's going on, and you have no control. There is some events going on which going to influence your life, but you even do not understand how you can change it something. And this is definitely the most devastating for me. So people, just like audience, please, if you have like something out of this list that you feel the most just like stressful for you, just put down in the chat. We would be happy just like to understand your opinion. Yeah. But let's go just a bit further and how to deal with the burnout. And this slide is what we spoke with Nikita like all this time. It's just like this, who am I? And what do I know about myself? What do I know about my body? Do I know this moment when I'm becoming agitated and I'm just responding to some stress? Maybe I just like push it away and I'm just like, but it actually stresses me. Do I understand how do I deal with this moment which is coming stress? Do I understand what is my usual reaction on the stress? Do I understand how long does it take me for rest? Because this notice your cycles is just like, I'm agitated, responding to stress. How long does it take me to feel recharged so I'm ready for the next stressful situation at this moment? And just like, how do I receive new tasks? And when I'm receiving new tasks, do I really just like understand where am I at this moment? Am I feel already overwhelmed? Where is my jar when something new is coming? So this thinking, not tasking of yourself, first it feels like it's extremely simple, but I should tell you it's extremely difficult. This learning yourself, learning your body needs, learning your psychic needs, learning your way how you just rest, ways how you recreate, it's extremely difficult. So I wouldn't underestimate it. It's taking me already many years and professional like a psychotherapeutic support just to learn yourself, even emotions. I had like an issue that I didn't even realize that I'm getting angry. So I just don't know. I don't know. Am I angry? No, I don't know. Am I angry? So this is lack of a connection with yourself. I assume is the first and the most important key how to start dealing with burnout. Just learning, using these quick checks, using red flags, understanding if you have any symptoms. That's learning of yourself is assumed as the most important one. The next one is that point we brought several times through the our conversation, is that what Zoltan asked and wrote in the chat, is that so our body have our like a subconscious responses to stress and incoming threats. And there are three most fundamental responses: is a fight, run, and freeze. And what is interesting here is that a lot of situation when you cannot fight because culturally and by criminal law it's prohibited, for example, or sometimes you cannot run, or sometimes you cannot freeze. What is interesting here, we still can use these typical stress responses as a compensatory recreational activities. And people whose stress response is a preliminary, for example, fight, can use dynamic and reactive activities to release this energy. So you cannot fight in an actual, just like specific situation, but you can use active sport to release this energy through the fight. I personally also like on a fight level, my favorite sport is ice hockey. It's a competitive and you can smash someone if you need. So this is a perfect sport, to be honest, for me. Just like this dynamic reactive activity, which helps use your most common, most typical stress response to release this energy, which is like filling your jar. But if you're more like a run person, and there is no better people and the worse people, you can use like a more just like some rhythmic activities which can help you to do the same. You can do running, you can do swimming, you can do walking, cycling, which is more like less active and responsive, but still it's just like more slow. And even if you're running fast, I mean, it's still more like repetitive actions. And if your typical reaction is freeze, you can find yourself meditative and contemplative. You can do clay modeling, embroidery, something which requires repeating actions. And so you have most common stress response, and you can use recreational compensatory activities just to recreate. So learning yourself and what is your most typical response can help you to choose hobbies, which can help you to release stress more efficiently and work with this occupational burnout you can have. So Nikita, you know where you are. What
Yeah,
do you do?
I'm actually 100% in my emotional and rhythmic activity for now, because I'm doing triathlon, and it's running, swimming, and cycling. And yeah, I actually walk.
Yeah.
I walk too, but some time ago, I used the contact sports. I was doing Muay Thai fight, and I can say that. Reactive and dynamic activity is also tennis. I was playing tennis, and it's very reactive and dynamic, and it's a big fight. And the thing is that it's a fight with yourself. It's here, it's not on the court. So this is basically for me. I went from fight to run now, but I actually enjoy the meditative activities. But if I was to choose, I would choose the rhythmic activities. Now, again, in this period of my life, because it's also important to say that in this context, in this period, I would go with this. And some time ago, I would go with something different, and who knows what would be next. So this is it. What about you? What would you choose?
So I like ice hockey. I do not play much ice hockey in New York here, but just like it's mostly like walking and hiking. It's also good, works for me, but I feel that I definitely feel lack of a competitive sport, which I need to be reactive. I found myself really enjoying skiing. I didn't ski when I was like younger. I skied like the last 4 years, and this feeling of a full control of your body and your ability to quickly react on a changing environment or something new is coming is so good. I mean, so just like definitely recreate me and recharge me quite completely. I can be bored by something meditative, but this competitive sport is perfect.
And I would ask our friends to drop a couple of messages in the chat, like what is your recreational activity that you actually do, and how do you recharge? Sorry, let's go on.
No worries. So this is maybe we can just like quickly stop and say that, guys, recreation is important, because if you do not recreate your life and exploring and curiosity, your self-development, your education, whatever you are doing for yourself outside of the work will become work. So recreation as a conscious effort to care about your body, about your psychic, understanding your body needs is a crucial component. And as just like a child of this Soviet Union pedagogical and parental system, when you feel like you need to achieve the greatest and the best, and you don't need really to care about yourself because like we don't have money to have fun, and my parents was not very rich. In general, this feeling that you can and need to spend time and money to recreate yourself is definitely some like new for me. I didn't know about it. And I have a friend who is also like, all right, I'm 38, I have a house, wife, and family, and I still don't know how to recreate myself and what I like, how I can have fun and how can I recharge. And it ends up in him feeling completely devastated, overwhelmed by the amount of what we need to do, because he just didn't learn, and we didn't learn how to recreate when we was kids. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't and we cannot learn it at the moment. So next steps, and we're already coming close to the end, right? So
yeah, but we can take extra 5-10 minutes. So I have already.
We can. We can
yeah,
take.
Yeah.
You already confirmed. You already confirmed. Okay, I'm gonna enjoy every minute we have left. So the next steps, that's what we spoke, is define and acknowledge these things about you. What is your working style? Are you like more like a critical responder, emergency responder? You like challenges, or you like something just like to do day to day, and you feel comfortable? And what are you slow? Are you fast? Both are all right. It's just like it's just like you, and the way how it works. There are tons of different jobs and different opportunities. You can be slow because it's necessary to be slow. You can be fast because it's necessary to be fast. What is my work size? How much incoming task I would like? As it should be bigger, and maybe you're growing in your career and you understand you can handle bigger challenges, but it's all right to start with a smaller one, because your psychic feel like a need to understand the problem, to work on it. And if the problem is too big and you're fighting, like my problem is how to make EPAM engineering excellence is extremely big, and I'm just like sometimes, oh my god, how am I gonna do it? But when I break it down in smaller pieces and work with all of them, this is my working size, and I can deal. What is my needs for my body? How much food I need? This food is a perfect, just like how much food I need, how much water I need, how much fun I need, how much rest I need. 7 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep, 9 hours of sleep. Just like what works for me, how when I feel rested. And we're always looking for this external reference, like what is internet is writing, oh, I need to sleep 8 hours and I'm gonna be good. And you're just like fitting yourself in this 8 hours, and you find that it doesn't work for you, and I need like 9 hours, otherwise I feel like devastated. Then I punish myself that I do not fit internet expectations. And it's all like, you understand what I'm talking about, right, Nikita? My comfort preferences, I feel like in these like shared drivers is the perfect that they allow you to choose right now, sometimes like an Uber and Lyft, whatever you have in your country is just like comfort preferences. You would like cool, you would like warm, you would like driver to talk, you would like driver to not, because this is your comfort preferences. And even this application, asking yourself what is comfortable for you, it's already perfect moment. You can look inside yourself and ask, today I'm driving to the airport, or maybe just like to my friend, and would I like to be in a warm car or in a cool car? Would I like to talk to the driver, or I would like just to keep silent and just listen to my music? So this is your comfort preferences, which are also important for your body and your psychic belief. What is your stress patterns? What mostly stresses you? What you feel dangerous? And all those stressors we look before. And the way how you respond, you feel fighting back, you feel running away, you feel just like a freezing, you feel combining those of them, and etc. And obviously the suitable recreation is that what makes you feel good, because I hate laying down on the couch, and I just like laying down doesn't recreate me at all. Okay, it recreates me when I'm sleeping, but if just like right now it's a Saturday and I'm not working, I'm laying down on the couch and I'm just like, oh my god, and it's just like, no, it doesn't work at all. This is the first, define, acknowledge those things about you. Do you like warm or cool cars, Nikita?
No, but I would like to add to what you just said, that listen to yourself and be curious about yourself. This is probably would be even a better formulated state you would like to get into. Be curious about yourself, try and listen to the feedback of your body and feedback of your mind. And in this case, you would understand and you would find your comfort zone, your zone out of the comfort zone, and all of the things that is basically written on the screen. Just be curious and listen to yourself.
You know what is interesting? I'm going right now through the leadership coaching when it's external company helping EPAM, just like with training and coaching leadership stuff. And I was really just like, surprised to find self-compassion as one of the most important skills for leaders and for people in general. I saw the most important skill for leader is just like be scary or like talking right way. But being self-compassionate, and if you can learn yourself, you can understand that you need to learn your people. If you can learn how to be self-compassionate and be curious about yourself, this understanding your needs, you can start seeing people not as like functions you need to push into machine and make it work, but as also people who have their own lives, their own reactions, their own pace, working styles, and stress patterns. And you can help them to be organized in a way that it's going to work much more effectively than if you push them in some constrained condition and just make them work because you're a scary guy. So that's just like really, really cool to find out that being self-compassionate is definitely recognized as important leadership skill. But the next step is finding yourself not alone. And like we found each other, Nikita, and I'm so happy that I know you, to be honest. Just like we found each other, we can talk about it. You can share like, oh, I feel cool when I'm cycling. Oh, I feel cool when I'm doing that. Oh, I hate these big tasks because these user stories are so complex and you cannot understand themselves. Or guys, there is just too much calls and I cannot handle it. Or just like, yeah, and I feel like threatened when you make code review when I'm not here because I feel like I'm out of control. I cannot respond to your comments and etc. So finding each other, because we are working in the teams, smaller teams, bigger teams, software engineering teams, some other kind of teams, business analysis teams, whatever, just like it's team leadership team on like top management level, we are still people who are working with each other, and being able to communicate about yourself, your needs, it's a way how we can help to find each other and first be better in a relationship between each other, but also in building team demand or team kind of a contract or team need, which can be communicated up. And it's coming us to the way how we can speak with someone who gives us work, right? So how we can communicate someone who is continuously giving you tasks you cannot understand and you cannot do it. And when you need to be able sometimes to communicate by yourself, but if you are able to communicate within your team, your needs, and talk about burnout, talk about the stress you need to handle, you would be able to build like your joint need, your joint message, and your joint communication. And it's usually, it's just like the best way to be open. So you can tell, and sometimes another side can do not really understand, and it can just like be, doesn't work. So it's just like, and it's okay because it also gives you an information about the way how you need to behave. You can understand that your needs are not going to be satisfied and you can make your choices or find your own consensus. You try to communicate clearly, and you can communicate clearly because you can explain your own reaction. So this make your message clear is, I assume, it's the most important, because if you just feel overwhelmed and stressed and you feel tired, you can communicate your tiredness. And your tiredness, a typical response is like, okay, just like hold yourself, we need to finish this project and they have an important deadline. Or this communication can be, it's okay, you can take vacation and go for a couple of days or 10 days to rest. But next time you will get and be tired and overwhelmed again, and it's going to be just a repeating cycle. So if you can communicate not only that you are tired, but you can also communicate that what makes you tired, what can be improved to makes you not tired out of that. It could be much more clear and more specific conversation. So learning yourself is crucial, not only to care about yourself, but also to give other people who have some level of control over your life from the salary perspective, workload perspective, ways how they can manage themselves. So you cannot, and you shouldn't probably expect that someone is going to care about you more than you can do care about you. And you cannot expect that someone is going to understand you more than you can understand yourself. So you can hope And sometimes managers understand more about you because they have more experience and in general working with people more than with some tools or machines and just like coding or testing or any other activities. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're overwhelmed by incoming, they cannot see yourself. So investing time and understanding yourself, building clear message on your needs and bringing it to the manager, for me, it's a key. And in case if you brought a clear message and this message is not well received, you can either make a consensus, you can either decide that you're going to hold a bit longer because you have your reasons and the rational reasons, or you can decide to leave, which is also care about yourself. Sometimes going and moving forward, it's also care about yourself. But if you are able just like to communicate within the team and bring this message, and you can able to create not only your personal needs, but team needs and communicate in a structured way, you will actually provide manager a tool on the way how he or she can satisfy his or her expectations and needs using your team in the most comfortable and best way. So we are over time for almost like 7 minutes. Oh my goodness, so it's a questions time. Communication is a key. Your well-being is your responsibility, Nikita. Your responsibility is well-being of yourself. And you can become an advocate of recreational culture, is a typo, and curiosity about yourself and people around. You see curiosity. So how are we doing?
So I have just checked if there are any questions in our chat, and we basically don't have any. And since we're 7 minutes over time, I would like probably to thank everyone for participating in our
just
presentation.
Like such a sad moment. Such a sad moment. Tell me, it was at least
Why?
messages in the chat, or we spoke just between two of us?
No, there were a lot of messages. Just there were no questions. I actually even had a couple of chats with different people, so I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
So you chatted, you cheated on me while we spoke, right?
yeah, I did. But at the same time, while doing this speech, I think all of us were recreating, right? And we were receiving this spark. I hope that by we, I mean Alex and myself, brought you a little shed of light to some things and made you to listen to yourself, to look deeper into yourself, and to feel yourself. And hopefully this speech would be very, very useful for you, and you would use some of the tools that you heard here in your day-to-day life. Right, Alexei, what would you add to this?
So I'm not satisfied because there is no questions. I mean,
oh, come on, I can ask you something. You want it? You want one question?
But you remember you asked me and I postponed this question, right? It was a question.
And it was about the environment. How does environment affect your dealing with the burnout? You see, I remember.
I had been promising to give you a joke about environment, right? So environment is a crucial component of your surroundings and yourself because you're not alone, you're not isolated in a bubble, you're part of the environment as well. But so environment can be positive, can be negative. Environment is something you can need to deal with. You can find yourself in the middle of the rain, or you can find yourself in the middle of the sun. So environment is definitely something which brings you sometimes with stress. Environment, it could be positive because just like it brings you joy. But I assume the most important quality of environment for me is that you can change it. I mean, so the beautiful thing about the world that you can actively change it. You can change it physically. I can move this glass of water from one place to another, and I can go and clean up those dog poops, and it will become nicer on the street, right? So, I mean, this actively communicating and changing the environment, that's, I assume, the way how you can make your own room better, like for better sleep, you need to sleep mostly in the dark, cool spaces. So if you're not changing this environment, you're going to be stressed by the uncomfortable sleeping. But if you're able to take care about yourself and put the blinds who blocks the light, and you can cool down just like the room, or you can put like a nice smell, that's the way how you can actively start interacting with your needs and changing environments so it doesn't stress you much.
Yeah, and regarding the chat, there is a whole discussion and the joke actually from Milos that people don't want to ask questions and to make not to make us fall into phase 2. So thank you, Milos, very much. you have got the point of this presentation. Okay, guys.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Hold on. The joke.
Hold on, a joke.
The joke about environment. Okay. The joke about environment is that just like it's like, I don't know. Let's say that Luda has a nice shirt, and Misha likes Luda's shirt, and Nikita doesn't like Luda's shirt, but shirt doesn't care. It means that just like things are just things, environment is just environment, you are actor. So you have emotions about shirt, and that's why you shouldn't see environment as something you cannot change. You can change the environment, and you can feel and manage your emotions if you need. So that's what I would say. Sorry if it was not really funny joke.
Amen.
All right, that's it. Let's finish.
Okay, so wrapping up. Thank you, Alexei. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you, everyone, for participation. See you on the next speeches tomorrow. And again, thank you very much. Have a great evening. Have a great day.
Enjoy, guys.
Take care of yourself. Goodbye.
Absolutely. Bye.